This is section 2.1, Slope-Intercept Form, day 1. So the first thing we need to talk about at slope-intercept form is slope. So slope is a rate of change, and it tells us how steep a line is. Okay, so is it pretty steep or is it pretty flat? And we have 4 types of slope. So we have positive slopes that increase from left to right, negative slopes that decrease from left to right, zero slope, which is just a horizontal line, and undefined slope, which is a vertical line. When looking at a graph, we can count slope we can figure slope out by counting. So what we do is we try to find 2 different points on the line that we can see pretty easily. And we want to do y over x. So how does y change? So that delta triangle means change. So we're figuring out how y is changing and then figuring out how x is changing. So I count, I'm going up 1, 2, 3. So 3 becomes the top of my fraction, and then I count right 1. And I know that since it's increasing from left to right, our slope should be positive. So let's find the slope of each line. They give us 2 points. They give us one right here and one right here. So let's count. So up 1, 2, 3, 4. And over 1, 2. And make sure you're figuring out over right or over left. Well, we can simplify that because we know that 4 over 2 is just equal to 2. All right, let's look at this one. Let's count. So we're going to go down 1, 2. And since we're going down, it's going to be negative 2. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And this reduces to negative 1/2. So when you're counting, up is positive, down is negative. Right is positive, and left is negative. So let's find the slope of each line here. Notice here we have a horizontal line. It's just straight from left to right. If we go up back to what we talked about the 4 different types of slope, we see straight left and right, horizontal line. So our slope is 0. So this is a 0 slope. This line goes completely straight up and down. So we will look back up here. I see a line straight up and down. So it's undefined. So our slope here is undefined. So notice out of the 4 examples we did, we had an example here of positive because it's going up from left to right and the slope number is positive. We have negative here because it's going down from left to right. We had a 0 and we had an undefined. So if we're not given a graph and we're given 2 points, we could graph them and count, or we could just do some math. So if we're given 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, these little numbers are just identifiers to make sure that we know that they're different. To find slope, we take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. When you're doing it, a way to double check yourself to make sure you're doing the correct order. If you circle up and down, they should come from the same point. So if I circle up and down, it should come from the same point. So let's do some examples of finding slope. So this first one, we have x1, we have y1, we have x2, and we have y2. And we have our handy dandy slope formula. So our slope m just represents slope. So we take y2, which is 5, minus y1, which is negative 5, over x2, which is negative 3, minus x1, which is 4. So 5 minus negative 5, remember that's like 5 plus positive 5, so we have 10 over negative 7. So this has a negative slope. Let's do the second one. Same thing, x1, y1, x2, y2. Our slope, our y2 is 5, our x2, or y1 rather, is negative 5. Our x2 is 3, and our x1 is 1. So just add. So we have 10 over 2, which is 5. That's a positive slope. Let's try that third one. So y2 is 4 minus y1, which is 4. x2 is 7 minus x1, which is 0. We get 0 over 7. 0 divided by any number is just 0. So we have 0 slope. Notice that when we have 0 slope, our y values are the same. All right, and let's do the next one. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so it's positive 2/3. And last but not least, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We get negative 7 over 0. We can't divide by 0, so that doesn't give us an answer. When we can't divide by 0, it's undefined. Notice that with an undefined slope, our x values are going to be the same.